everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a video about NaNoWriMo. I haven't really talked much about NaNoWriMo on my channel. I think I might have mentioned it like in my booktube newbie tag, maybe. But I wanted to talk about it because I am planning to do it this year, and it's something that I've kind of been doing on and off since I was a teenager, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what NaNoWriMo is and any tips and tricks that I might have that I've picked up over the years. I am not a writing professional. This is not going to be writing advice in general. It is purely an amateur hobby of mine that I've been doing since I was a kid. But this is kind of a how to survive NaNoWriMo video. So what is NaNoWriMo? NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It takes place every single year in November, from November 1st at midnight that morning, like the beginning of November 1st, to 11:59 p.m. on November 30th. And the goal of NaNoWriMo is to write 50,000 words in those 30 days. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's not even supposed to really be edited unless you really, really want to do that. It's purely about word vomit. You want to get the words onto the page so that you have some idea of what your first draft could be like, or maybe it is your first draft, and it's not supposed to be something that you can finish up and send to a publisher or anything like that. It's purely supposed to be getting a first draft into existence. Now, what does 50,000 words in 30 days break down to? It breaks down to, I think, 1,667 words a day. To some people, that seems like not very much until you've actually tried to do it. I promise you it's a little bit harder than you think it is, trying to fit it in between, like, family or work or whatever. It takes a lot longer than you think, but it definitely is doable. Now, a lot of people say that NaNoWriMo is something that, oh, your goal is to finish a book in 30 days. That's not necessarily true. 50,000 words sounds like a lot. In terms of a full-length novel, especially in terms of like a full-length fantasy novel, it's pretty short. I don't remember the exact page count, but your typical fantasy novel can sometimes be almost double that count. The goal for Nano, like I said, is to get the words on the page and to try and get you into the habit of writing consistently every single day. Lots of people finish, lots of people don't. Everybody tends to have fun doing it. The community is absolutely great. They're super supportive, and honestly, as long as you write something, you're still a winner. Now that I've said the winner thing, yes, the goal is technically to win NaNoWriMo, and winning NaNoWriMo means writing 50,000 words. If you do succeed in this, prize is pride. You have completed 50,000 words in 30 days. There's no, you don't get anything for free, you don't get any real physical prize. I think they might send you a certificate, like, virtually, and you can print it out if you really want to. Your prize is being able to say that you wrote your 50,000 words in 30 days, or more than 50,000 words if you were really prolific. You get discounts to a bunch of things. I think you might get a discount to the NaNoWriMo, like, goodie store, which has t-shirts and mugs and all sorts of fun stuff like that. A lot of times NaNoWriMo sponsors will provide discounts for the winners of, like, writing software, or if you wanted to print off your manuscript, you get a discount for that, things like that. But really, it's just bragging rights. Now, for those of you that have never really written anything before, but are kind of interested in Nano, because let's be honest, those of us here on BookTube, we're readers, we like to read, otherwise we wouldn't be on BookTube or watching BookTube or whatever we're doing. And a lot of people that enjoy doing something as a hobby would also like to participate in that hobby. That's why I started getting into writing. That's why a lot of my friends have started getting into writing. My cousin is actually the one who introduced me to Nano when I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. We've been doing it ever since, and we both started out as readers that wanted to try our hand at making our own story. So how do you go about doing that? Most writers tend to fall into one of two camps. There's plotters, people who, I mean, it's self-described. You plot out every single step, or the overarching plot, or whatever. You have a plan for what you're going to write before you start writing it. Then there's pantsers, and pantsers write by the seat of their pants. You open up a blank document, you open up a blank notebook, and you just start writing whatever comes to mind. A lot of times pantsers will have some kind of vague idea of what they want, but they don't really have any idea of where they're going. It just kind of happens as they go. There are some writers that kind of fall in between. We have very lovingly named them plantsers, and this just means that they kind of have a plot. Most people that do this, they kind of have like a beginning that they want and an end that they want, but they have no idea what goes on in the middle. Or they have, you know, this happens in the beginning and I want this to happen in the middle, and then I want this to be how it ends. There's no real correct way to do this. I tend to fall into the plantser category. I will say that the times I have finished Nano, because I have failed multiple times, more times than I've won, I have failed Nano, but that's not what it's about. More times than not, when I have finished Nano, it's because I have plotted out the major plot points of my entire story, and that has helped me save a lot of time that I could have been writing where I was like, what do I need to happen next? I know what's going to happen next, so all I have to do is write it. Versus when I have pantsed my novel, I have spent more time going, well, no, wait, this doesn't work because this contradicts what I said earlier on, and then I've got to think about how to fix that plot hole. Or something. A lot of people are really great doing both ways. A lot of people stress themselves out if they try and change it up. I have tried both. I have sort of succeeded at both, so I don't really have a preference. Nano, this year I am trying to go more towards the plotting side of things because I've had a story idea in my head for a long time, and I kind of wanted to really flesh that out. For the record, I have no intention of ever becoming a published author. I literally just purely write as a hobby because I enjoy it, and I call it a hobby, but let's be honest, I actually only write during Nano. It's the only time of year where I can set it aside and prioritize it over other things because I have a reason to. So like I mentioned before, Nano takes up a lot of your time. Nano is 30 days where you have to set aside some amount of time to write 1,667 words a day. Or, occasionally, more if you don't plan on writing on certain days. There's some people that don't write it all on weekends. There's some people that don't write it all on weekdays. Thanksgiving is, obviously, it's the start of the holidays in the United States, and a lot of people get around their families for Thanksgiving, and it's really difficult to find time to write when you're hanging out with family and friends all the time. Maybe that's not going to be the case in 2020, but who knows? So a lot of people plan out their days accordingly so that they write more on certain days so that they can write less on other days, or they get themselves really, really ahead in the beginning of the month so that they can relax a little more at the end of the month. Honestly, it's entirely up to you and what you want to do and how you want to rearrange your schedule. But just know that it probably will require some kind of schedule, because 1,667 words a day is a lot harder than you think it's going to be if you've never written before. I talked previously about how a lot of people always ask, like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to push yourself into this when it's not, like, something that's ever going to pay out in the end? NaNoWriMo is supposed to be fun. Like I said, it's supposed to be a way for you to get yourself into the habit of writing, or get that story idea that's been in your head down onto paper or into a computer or whatever you're using, and just do something that you love to do. It's not about winning at the end, although I guess for some people it is. The bragging rights are, you know, important. Everybody likes to be able to say that they won. But I don't necessarily think that NaNoWriMo is worth all of the pressure that a lot of people put on themselves to win at the end. Because let's be honest, just because it is National Novel Writing Month doesn't mean you have to stop writing at the end of that month. Take as much time as you want. If you don't get to 1,667 words a day, at least you've written something. At least you've accomplished a part of what you wanted to accomplish. You've started, and that's the main thing. So now that I've kind of talked your ear off about what NaNoWriMo is, some of the lingo that goes along with it, I'm gonna give you some of the tips and tricks that I've learned over the last decade of doing Nano. Like I said, I have been doing Nano probably since I was 11 or 12. I am now 27, so I've done it a lot. I've seen a lot of it change over the years as far as the website goes, or the community goes. There are a lot of people that have been around in it longer than I have, who probably take their writing a lot more seriously than I do. But I'm here to give you guys some tips and tricks about some things that have worked for me, some things that haven't worked for me, and just a general idea of how you can make it easier on yourself to succeed. So the first thing is what you're writing on. If you prefer to write with pen and paper, that's great, you do you. I could never do that myself because my hand would cramp up so bad, and the goal is to get to 50,000 words, and counting your words out via pen and paper would just be so much more complicated for me. But I know a lot of people prefer to do it that way, so if that is your preferred method of writing, absolutely go for it. But there's other kinds of software that you can use that make your life a lot easier when it comes to writing, when it's not just in a Microsoft Word document or whatever. Again, no hate. I started writing in a Microsoft Word document, and it is, you know, it's a word processor. Obviously, that is something that it is good for. But there's a lot of other types of software or apps or whatever that are specifically meant for writing and or plotting a book or a screenplay or whatever that make your life a lot easier. I guess I should preface this with, I'm not sponsored in any way. I have just tried a lot of things over the years, and so if any of this sounds helpful to you, they are not paying me. Absolutely go check them out though. This is not a comprehensive list of novel writing software or apps or anything like that. It's just some of the ones that came to the top of my head. So first and foremost is what I use, which is Scrivener. I have been using Scrivener for 4 or 5 years now, I would say. There's a learning curve, that's absolutely for sure. There's definitely a learning curve, and you do have to pay for it. I want to say it's like 30 or 40 bucks. It's available on Windows and Mac, so you can use either one. And I believe that Scrivener gives a 30-day free trial throughout all of Nano, and if you win Nano, you get 50% off of the price of buying Scrivener at the end. So, you know, it's definitely affordable, and I would even say it's probably one of the more affordable writing softwares out there. Scrivener uses a whole multitude of things to help you write. Most notably, there is like a corkboard that you can put index cards on to help you with plotting. You can separate things into chapters or scenes in a, like, it's called a binder. You can put your research in there, in which like all of your character sheets or world building sheets and things like that go into. You can mark things as to do or first draft or second draft or final copy or whatever. And at the end of it, it does actually compile it into an ebook format or a manuscript format, all into one document, even though you're technically writing into multiple different documents. The downside to Scrivener is that for Windows users specifically, it's not particularly portable. There's no app. There is an Apple app, but there is no Android app. I don't know if that works Windows to Apple. I'm not sure how that would work. You can do something with Dropbox so that you can move it from like computer to computer, but as far as writing on tablets or Androids go, there's a couple of different workarounds you can use, but there's no specific Scrivener app. And like I said, there is a learning curve to Scrivener. They have tutorials, but most of it is really just learning as you go, clicking and figuring out things that you are going to use versus what you're never going to use. They have a lot of features that are like character name generators. They do stats on there. You can set a session goal for, so like for Nano, for example, you can set a project goal of 50,000 words and a daily session goal of 1,667 words. But personally, I have found Scrivener to be the most useful of the writing softwares that I've done. And I already paid for it, so I don't have to keep paying for it, which is really nice because I hate subscription fees. So moving on, I'm going to mention a couple of other softwares that I have tried, but I don't really know too much about as far as their pros and cons go, but I know that they exist. So I know that there's Noveler, which is N-O-V-L-R. I know that they have a free trial, but I believe they also do like a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription, I want to say. There is Dabble, which is another web-based program. I believe it also does a monthly or yearly subscription. Both of those, I think you can connect straight to NaNoWriMo's website, and what they'll do is they'll automatically update your daily counts for you, which is really handy. Like I said, I've tried both of them. I don't really know much about their pros and cons, so I can't really tell you too much. Campfire is another web-based writing program. That one has a free trial going on right now for Blaze, but I think there's also a Campfire Pro that I think you pay a one-time fee for. Again, I don't know much about it. I think that one is specifically useful because it has a timeline feature. I have heard of Manuscript, as Manuscript with a K instead of a C, as being an option, and then there's just a bunch of your normal writing software. I know people use the JotterPad app. There is I think it's called Novelist, is another app that you can use on, I'm only going to be talking about Android apps here, guys. I have a Samsung. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about Apple's apps. But Jotterpad and Novelist are two specifically writing ones. I think Writer Plus might be one. All of these I would at least recommend checking out to see if it's something that helps you, because different writing softwares are going to work for different people. I know plenty of people that work just fine on Microsoft Word, and plenty of people that work just fine with like Google Docs because of how movable it is into everything that they would need. I know some people write on Evernote as well, so you know, it's just whatever works for you. So that was a lot about software, and definitely if you guys have any questions about different types of software for this, ask me down in the comments. I will be happy to point you into any direction you might need. There's a lot of different web-based programs that are intended to help you write more. I don't remember the names of them specifically, I'm sorry, but there's one that is like a kind of like an RPG game where if you write a certain amount of words, you gain your character a certain amount of points, and you can battle creatures and move him along in the storyline by you writing more. There's another one that is completely blank, and you can't actually see what you're typing as you're typing it until you're done, until you've hit a certain word goal. And the purpose of that is purely to stop you from going back and editing as you're writing. The purpose is for you to get your storyline out. The downfall for that to me is that sometimes I forget my train of thought, and I like to go back and be like, oh, where was this scene going? And I can't do that because it's all white. There's another one that if you don't write a certain amount of words in a certain amount of time, it will, I think like some kind of alarm goes off on your computer, but if you do write a certain amount of words, I think it shows you fluffy cat pictures or something super cute like that. None of those have actually worked for me, and as far as motivating me to write more. What does work for me is writing sprints in which like you and a buddy set a certain amount of time, like 15 minutes or whatever, and you try and write as many words as you can in those 15 minutes, and whoever writes the most words wins that session, I guess. There's also, so in the NaNoWriMo forum, you can find things called writing crawls, and a lot of people have put a lot of effort into different fandoms. The Harry Potter one specifically, I believe you start out with a certain number of coins, and you pick your house, and you pick your writing speed, and those characteristics carry you through the entire plot line. They have one crawl for every single book in the Harry Potter series, and you have to write your way through the plot line. So like to make your way to Hagrid's house, you have to sprint to 500 words, or to do this in the plot, you have to roll a dice and multiply it by 10, and that's how many words you have to write in a specific amount of time. Each prompt, I guess you could call it, that you complete gets you money in the world or gets you to a specific part of the plot line, and I've always found those super motivating. I don't know what it is about writing crawls, but they just have always helped me to finish out a session that I've needed, and I think that they're pretty fun to do. So definitely, if you're interested in that, check out the Writing Crawls forum on the NaNoWriMo website. People have all sorts of different fandoms. I've seen Lord of the Rings, I've seen Game of Thrones, I've seen Buffy, there's a lot, and they pretty much just get carried over from year to year. I'm not sure who the original creators are anymore, but they're pretty good about linking all of that stuff. And so finally, that brings me to my last topic that I wanted to talk about, and that is ideas for Nano. There's a whole bunch of places that you can get ideas from if you want to participate in NaNoWriMo, but you maybe haven't actually got an idea for what you want to write about, or you don't think that you could actually make it to 50,000 words with your plot that you have. There's a whole bunch of solutions, honestly. So in the forum, they have plot doctoring, they have adoption societies, they have all sorts of really cutely named things like that. And what they are is you can adopt a plot line, or you can adopt a story name, or you can adopt a character name, and things like that. The forums on the Nano website are engineered to try to help everyone succeed. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, absolutely go to the Nano forum, because everybody there is so friendly. They just want to help you finish. They just want to help you succeed at NaNoWriMo, because that's all we're trying to do, is all of us are just trying to write 50,000 words in a month. So as far as ideas go, absolutely check out the Adoption Society for Adopt a Plot, because it is, I've found so many of my own ideas there, and everybody, you can adopt the same plot line as somebody else, but everyone's going to have a different spin on it, so it's not going to be exactly the same. If for whatever reason you don't want to join in on the NaNoWriMo forum, there's a whole bunch of websites that you can actually just Google plot generator or fantasy novel or young adult novel or whatever you want to write. Plot generator. Sometimes they work. They've been a little iffy for me. I've never really actually gotten anything out of them, but you know, if you're interested, check out the plot generators and see if anything sparks an idea for you. So that's all that I wanted to talk about for NaNoWriMo. If you guys have any questions at all, if you are thinking about doing Nano this year, or if you've never heard of Nano and now you're interested in doing Nano, absolutely please talk to me in the comments. I've been doing it for a really long time. I love finding other Nano buddies, and happy writing, guys. I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!